Karnataka, where a very influential Lingayat Seer has been accused by two minors of sexual exploitation over a period of many years. It's a very serious charge, and even though a complaint has been made out under the Prevention of Child Sexual Harassment, POCSO, so far the seer has not been arrested. He was called in for questioning very briefly today. The police, even after 3 days, have not recorded the statement of the young victims. Now, what is worse is that not one politician from Karnataka, whether from BJP, Congress, JDS, you name it, any mainstream political party in the state, has come out and unequivocally supported the victims. Either they are kowtowing to the Swamiji or they are playing it safe ahead of next year's elections, not wanting to alienate a powerful vote bank in the Lingayats. The question, though, is how can we play safe with our children's safety and their very future?
Anger is growing against prominent Lingayat Seer Shivamurthy Murugha Sharanaru. The chief pontiff of the prominent Murugha Mutt in Karnataka's Chitradurga was detained after he was booked for allegedly sexually assaulting minor girls at institutes run by the Mutt. He has been booked under sections of the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act. The complaint was filed on behalf of two minors who reached out to an NGO in Mysuru. The girls, aged 15 and 16, were staying at a hostel under the Murugha Mutt. They were allegedly sexually abused for over 3.5 years. After they narrated their ordeal, it was brought to the attention of the District Children's Welfare Committee. Apart from the seer, the FIR was also registered against 4 other individuals, including the warden of the institution. But the seer remained adamant. He addressed his devotees who had gathered at the Mutt premises and claimed that there was a long-drawn conspiracy against him. Karnataka Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai was tight-lipped on the matter, saying the truth will come out.
2 ಕೇಸುಗಳನ್ನು ಪೊಲೀಸರು ದಾಖಲೆ ಮಾಡಿ ತನಿಖೆ ನಡೆಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಮಾತನಾಡೋದಾಗಲಿ ವ್ಯಾಖ್ಯಾನ ಮಾಡೋದಾಗಲಿ.
Even Congress State President D.K. Shivkumar didn't criticize the seer.
I have seen that he is a very noble man who has done some great contribution to the state. Let me not interfere with whatever the police or the government is doing late.
In the run-up to next year's assembly elections in Karnataka, both the Congress and the BJP have been trying to woo Lingayats. They make up nearly 17% of the state's population and can determine the poll outcome in 90 to 100 constituencies. But will that come in the way of a fair probe against the Lingayat Seer? Or will the fight for votes come before justice?
All right, let me go across to our full panel. Joining us this evening on the Talking Point on brass tacks, Dr. Geeta Bhatt, academician and RSS thinker, joining us. Sanket Yanagi, KPCC spokesperson. Tara Krishnaswamy is co-founder of Political Shakti and Citizens for Bengaluru. Gopal B. Hozur, former IGP of police of the Karnataka Police, and Ramswamy Mayappan, advocate, joining us. Dr. Geeta Bhatt, let me start with you first. This is a very, very serious charge. Not one but 2 minor victims have come forth and lodged this complaint. As per the complaint, they were being sexually assaulted for the last 3.5 years. A case was registered on Friday under very stringent provisions, 376(2), as well as Section 6 of POCSO, very, very stringent provisions. 3 days have passed. It's been 72 hours and no arrest. In fact, the seer was called in for a very brief questioning today and then let off, asked to go back to the Mutt. Why is it that the police are not acting? Isn't that a legitimate question to ask, ma'am?
Well, Zaka, you see, religious institutions are places which are synonymous to reverence, to piousness, to practicing spirituality. And when such institutions, or their representatives, their leadership, when they are accused of, such kind of such a heinous accusation for minor girls being sexually abused, it is something which is really very shocking. Now, since this is just an accusation, we do not know. I mean, the Mutt and the leadership are saying that there is a conspiracy. But if it is true, then I think, this is nothing but exploitation of the belief of the people in such leadership, religious leadership and such sects. So this is something which needs to be handled very, very sensitively and in both manners, because these young girls who have come out and who have spoken, they really have to enable their agencies to come out and speak. And if it is true that they for last 3.5 years, and because these institutions, they are a lot of schools, colleges which are being run under them. This is kind of, it puts a big question mark even on these other academic institutions which are there, or those students who are studying there, their apprehensiveness in their parents. So it's, the ramifications of this kind of a news coming out is something which is very shocking, and yes, we do need to look into it, investigate it properly, and come out with the truth.
Sanket Yanagi, the fact is that, it's not just BJP, even Congress or JDS for that matter. Not one politician has come out today and said unequivocally that we stand by the victims. These are very, very serious charges. Very, very serious sections have been invoked. There's no reason why this Seer has not been arrested yet. If it was anybody else who has been booked under Section 6 of POCSO or 376(2) of the IPC for rape, would have surely been arrested by now, and that too minor children. Why is it that people like Mr. D.K. Shivkumar today came out and said, this gentleman is noble, he's contributed greatly to society? Well, he may well be all of those things, but he's also accused by not one but by two minors who are also saying that there are others, not just these two. They're also saying that there are other minor victims who've been sexually exploited by this Swamiji. Why are politicians not taking a stand, sir?
Firstly, we may have to differentiate this complaint from the other complaints which are just a complaint under the POCSO Act. Here, there are two circumstances, two individual complaints. One is under the POCSO Act against the Seer and other 4 members. And there is another complaint for alleging kidnapping and using the criminal force. So these two are running into different dimensions, and these two are running into two opposite directions more specifically. So this is these two complaints give rise to two suspicious circumstances which are running contrary to each other. So that being the case, it is not a straight-cut case wherein one can be booked or charged or arrested or taken into custody, unlike the normal case under the POCSO Act. That is one circumstances, which is a legal hurdle. And second aspect is that
this
the matter
is not an ordinary
investigated.
case. This is a case where 2 minors have approached an NGO, and the NGO have then approached the police. The police were apprised of this. The complaint was filed, I think, on Friday. Today is Monday, and he's just been called in for an hour's questioning. That's it. No other coercive action. And no politician, from Yediyurappa to D.K. Shivkumar to H.D. Kumaraswamy, they're all rushing to give a clean shit to this gentleman. Why?
This is a case we must allow the investigating agency to independently act and probe the matter. We may not have to pressurize them. It is not the duty of the political parties to pressurize the investigating agency to act in a particular manner without there being a proper investigation. And everyone should cooperate the investigating agency now.
No, there seems to be some kind of a different yardstick or a different standard, as I see it, for people from religious institutions who are accused of such grave crimes. There's no reason why the law of the land should not apply in full force like it would do if anybody else was the accused person in this case. Let me ask Gopal B.